Wherever you are right now, I want you to take a deep breath and just bring yourself present, because what's ever going on in the world right now, whether it's politics or family issues or holidays or the new year, what's ever going on, I want to help you practice exquisite self-care, because for now, our care is important for how we take care of ourselves. We can't keep giving from an empty cup. As my friend Sark says, she becomes a full cup of love, sharing her overflow with the world. My name is Linda Kroll, and for 35 years, I've been a therapist, mediator, attorney, Chopra Certified Teacher of Meditation, Yoga, and Ayurveda. And I realize that now more than ever, what we need is to put ourselves in a position to practice our own self-care. Sometimes it's said that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and I believe that. But our human experience can be very challenging. And what we need to remember is that love is the answer, starting with loving ourselves. And as we love ourselves more, we're going to give ourselves the attention, affection, appreciation, and acceptance we need. We're going to have empathy for ourselves and for others. And we're truly going to be the channel of love and beacon of light that we're meant to be in the world. What would it take to allow you to be present in your life, where you look at life from a more spiritual perspective? I realize that most of the pain we have in our lives is because of our ego's wounds. And think about how life should be, how people should treat us, how things should go, what ought to happen. We get into blaming and judging and trying to control, and we can't do that. And we hit our heads against a wall because we can't change other people. And where we need to focus is on changing ourselves and on changing our perspectives. Because as Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at something, what you look at changes. So if we're looking at the world through our ego, through the parts of us that are trying to manage or get extreme in ways that are angry or judgmental or withholding or blaming, if we're doing any of those things, what we're actually doing is causing more stress to our systems. So looking at life from a more spiritual perspective allows you to put a graft on your ego's wounds. So I've come up with graft, G-R-A-F-T, to remind you that when your ego is wounded, when life is not going the way you think it should, in your relationships, in your finances, in your politics, in your health, in your workspace, deep breath. Whenever you're having a problem, put a spiritual graft on, G-R-A-F-T. The G is for gratitude. Be grateful for what is. Even if you're having problems in your relationship, be grateful for the opportunity to heal those problems, or to be grateful to the person with whom you're married, even if you're thinking of ending the marriage. You may have children, you may have a home, you may have assets. Think about things for which you're grateful. And God forbid you get a phone call that the biopsy was cancerous. Again, be grateful that they found it. Be grateful that medicine can do what it does, because gratitude will bring a little more hope and a little more peace. And then the R-A of graft, G-R-A-F-T, is radical acceptance. So what can you radically accept? What can you begin to see now as it is, not as you want it, not as it could be or should be, but as it is? Radically accept it, because that's how you make changes. The F in graft is for forgiveness, for yourself and everyone else. So when you start to forgive yourself for choices made or not made, you'll find that you have more ability to be compassionate with other people. And that's what you're going to be able to do. So when you're grateful, radically accept the situation, forgive yourself and other people. The T is trust. So whether you're trusting in God, a higher power, your therapist, whether you're trusting in your true self, whether you're trusting in the universe, find some way to trust that things can turn out for the better, even if there's some difficult times ahead. So take a deep breath. I want to offer you a deck that I made recently, because I felt that finding a way to deal with life is helpful if we look at it from a more spiritual place. So what I created was a deck of messages from your higher self. And that higher self is that place inside of you that's calm, clear, compassionate, curious, connected, courageous, that knows that you can be spiritually present without going into fight, flight, or freeze. And one of the ways is to look at the world through an eye of abundance. And again, that's where gratitude comes in. What can you be grateful for in this moment that would make you feel that your life was more abundant, no matter what's missing from it at this moment? And then acceptance. Again, whether it's a relationship, a diagnosis, a work situation, the political outcome, what can you accept that you don't have to rail against? That doesn't mean you can't try to change things. It just means you do it from a place of more peace and calm, a little more higher consciousness, again, where you're not in that fight, flight, or freeze reactive mode. So acceptance allows you to begin to make changes, and you can appreciate. Again, what can you appreciate about yourself? How curious can you be? How courageous can you be? How can you show up in your relationship, in the diagnosis, in your workplace, in the political structure? How can you show up and appreciate what you can do to make a difference? How your attitude will change things, how your ability to be loving and forgiving and accepting can change the dynamics immediately. And what kind of attention can you give to yourself? And this is what this is all about. How do you practice exquisite self-care? And when you're focusing on everybody else and all the details of your work or the holidays or your family, how can you pay attention to yourself so that you can protect yourself from the vicissitudes of life by actually finding things that light you up, whether it's to meditate or journal or go for a walk or be with people you love? What can you do to give yourself the attention you need and deserve? And how do you balance? How do you balance your needs with the needs of others so you don't get subsumed by the needs of others and then lose track of what you can balance in your own life right now? So begin to think about what you want and need, because that's just important, if not more so, than what everybody else wants and needs from you. And believe. Deep breath with me here. Sometimes it's very hard. I know that I faced stage 4 lymphoma at one point, stage 2 breast cancer, colon cancer, a couple other cancers. And what got me through it is I did believe it would all work out. And whether I said the Lord's Prayer or whether I just was grateful that they caught it and they had medications that could help it, the belief was what helped me get through it. So whatever you're going through right now, believe it will all work out for the best. And then you can set your GPS in the direction of the highest good rather than get stuck or mired in worry and despair. And then be calm. Deep breath here. It's so hard to be calm when we're nervous or we're excited or we're anxious or we're angry. But see what you can do. Sometimes it just takes a breath. Put your hands on your abdomen and just breathe a belly breath. Inhale all the way down and exhale, and bring some calm into your situation right now. So whatever you're dealing with, a relationship, a health issue, finances, work, see how calm you can be, because when you're calm and coming from your higher self, your inner wisdom, you'll come up with responses that aren't reactive and make positive choices in the direction of your own self-care. And you do it that with understanding that change is the only constant. And when you embrace change, you'll see that it brings opportunities. And at first, it may not seem like opportunities. They may seem like challenges. They may seem like losses. But just like the caterpillar gets lost in the chrysalis before she becomes a butterfly, that's part of the change that you'll go through at various stages. And it may feel like you're in the dark when you're in that in-between stage, because even when you're grieving something and you're going through the stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, there's a void that comes when you know you've let go of one part of your life and you have to get to another. And in that interim, when change is happening, instead of being scared, be hopeful that change can bring good things. And then get some clarity. Oftentimes we react when we're triggered. We get anxious, we get angry, somebody says something, maybe your spouse says something to you, and you just knee-jerk into a sarcastic response or an angry response. And if you take a breath and wait to speak until you're clear, instead of automatically reacting in a fight or flight mode, you might just talk about the fact that something they just said hurt your feelings, which is a much clearer response than to be reactive and judgmental and to fight back. And then compassion, my favorite word. Compassionate communication with yourself first and then everyone else is what's going to make the difference in your own self-care. So what can you do to show more compassion to yourself and to other people? How can you put your needs first? How can you spend time allowing yourself to be present to your feelings and then turn in the direction of your feelings compassionately? So if you need to cry, let yourself cry. If you need to rant because you're angry, let yourself get it out of your body, of your system. Show compassion to all parts of yourself. You don't have to put a front on to the world and always be zen. But whatever you're feeling, show compassion to yourself. And the more compassion you show to yourself, you'll be able to show that to others. And have confidence that what is supposed to happen will. And again, that's not always easy to do. And it doesn't mean you don't take action to make changes. It just allows you to come from a more positive perspective, the glass half full instead of the glass half empty, and then move in the direction of what you want to see happen and have the courage and confidence to know that you can make those changes one step at a time. And then connection. Again, another big word. A quality of self where you stay connected to all parts of yourself, the parts that are hurt and sad and scared, the parts that manage, the parts that get extreme. You stay connected compassionately to your own parts from your heart, and then you share your heart with the hearts of others. And in that connection, as you are being the channel of love and the beacon of light that you are, you align that light and connect those lights with other people. And then together, synergistically, we can transform the world. So connect to your own light, connect to your heart, and then connect to the light and heart of others. Do it with courage. You can deal with whatever comes to you. And whether that's an illness, a breakup, a divorce, a loss, a death, whether it's something that's happening in the world at large, have courage that you can deal with it. And you can. It doesn't mean you're not going to be anxious or sad or scared. But at your core, your higher self is calm, clear, compassionate, courageous, connected, curious, creative, confident. That's who you are. So tap into your courage whenever you need it. And be creative. Find a unique solution to any problem. When I was at the Chopra Center, we talked about higher consciousness. We talked that you can't solve a problem on the same level of consciousness that created it. So the more you meditate, the more you tap into your higher self and deeper knowing, the more creative you can be in bringing that creativity back to a solution. And when you're not, again, fighting, fleeing, or fight, flight, or freezing, when you're not doing any of that, you can take a moment, take a breath, and think of a creative solution for how you can meet someone in the middle, for how you can practice more acceptance, for how you can change something one step at a time. So be creative when you're doing that, and be curious instead of judgmental. And that's a big one, because most of us want to judge. Our egos want to judge. What should it, could it be? How could other people be? But if we're curious, if we meet our lives with more curiosity, it allows for an openness. It allows for more connection and compassion and communication. And we do that by being curious instead of judgmental. Try it. You'll see it'll work. And then let's make it be easy. Deep breath. We're all working so hard, whether it's with clients, with family, with the world at large, with our own health, other people's health, relationships. It's often very hard. Let's see if we can find the ease Let's see if we can connect to our higher self and bring some peace and compassion and make it easy, make it flowing instead of stop and start. Because we're going to have empathy. We're going to have empathy for what we're going through, but we're also going to look at other people through the lens of their heart. What is their life like now? What are they experiencing? What are they dealing with? And when you put yourself in another's heart, it's even more than putting them in your eyes because you feel for them. You feel for what they're going through, and your empathy can be miraculous. Sometimes what another person needs is just to know someone cares. Thich Nhat Hanh says that the way to resolve conflict is to go to one side and tell about the pain and suffering of the first side, and go to the other side and talk about the pain and suffering of the second side. And what you're doing is you're just creating a space for empathy, a space for peace. And when you're being empathetic, other people can be more empathetic towards you. So by sharing that empathy, you'll find that there's more self-care because you can revel in knowing that other people understand and you're not alone. And have faith. Again, whether you believe in God, the universe, nature, higher power, having faith can give you something to lean into. I know for me, when I was in a situation where my daughter was very ill and then passed, I still have faith that there is a table in the sky and someday I will see her again. And whether that is something that's keeping me going, I tell my brother who doesn't believe, lean into it. If I'm wrong, when I go, I'll be wrong. But in the meantime, my faith gives me a lot of comfort to lean into. So find your faith where you can. Forgiveness. Oh, the big one. Take a deep breath here. And if I had a magic wand and you could you forgive yourself totally and completely for anything that's ever happened? Because if you could forgive yourself for any decision you made or indecision, any action you took or didn't take, forgive yourself. You did the best you knew how to do. And guess what? So has everyone else. So as you forgive yourself, you'll be able to forgive others. And in that forgiveness, healing can happen. And freedom. Again, spread your wings and fly. You don't have to be weighted down by the things from the past. You don't have to keep yourself from making changes in your life right now, but be free to do what you can do to embrace the changes in your life and make the best of them. And again, back to gratitude. Let's look at the half full instead of the half empty. Be grateful for what is instead of what isn't, and you will build on that gratitude to something even better. And then healing. That's big because sometimes we don't want to heal. Sometimes we're so used to being a victim of somebody else's treatment or the way our parents brought us up or something that's happened in our past that we don't want to heal. But if you can allow yourself to heal from any past or current pain, you will be free. Your self-care will restart. You'll reboot, and you'll find that you have much more energy and much more joy for life if you let yourself heal and get help to do that. And let's be honest. Let's be honest and authentic about what you're feeling, what you need, what you want and need. Be honest with the people you care about and be true to yourself so that if you aren't getting your needs met or if your boundaries are being violated, then make some changes. You may have to leave some relationships, but you can be honest and compassionate and peaceful and courageous. But it starts with being honest. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to be codependent. You don't have to take care of the world. But see how honest you can be about what you truly want and need. And then hope. Again, I always feel when there's life, there's hope. And I've come to believe that even after life, there's hope. So hope can be something that you can hold on to at the darkest times. And for me, it brings light into any situation. So I hope that you can find hope no matter what's going on in your life right now, because it will give you a better perspective and more self-care. Humility, that's big, because our egos want what our egos want. Our egos want it our way. But when we recognize that everybody has different ways, everybody has different reasons, everybody is incarnated for their own soul's journey, we have to let them be who they are. And in our humility, we can let go and let God, as they say in Al Anon, because then we don't have to spend our time trying to take care of the world and fix, save, and change when we can't do that all the time. In fact, the only one we can fix, save, and change is ourselves. Joy. There's always room for it if you make room for it. In the middle of the darkness, in the middle of tragedy. Again, sometimes it's hard to find, but look for it, because the lightest connection, somebody looking in you in the eyes, somebody understanding how you're feeling, somebody smiling to remind you to smile, there can be some joy. And I hope you can find it no matter what's happening right now. Kindness. Let's be kind. But first of all, let's be kind to ourselves. Let's not should on ourselves or make ourselves be or do more than who we are. Let's not judge. Let's not find deficiencies or things to complain about. Let's celebrate who we are. Let's be kind. And if there are things that we need to change, or we hope someone else changes, or a situation changes, let's do it with kindness, because from that kindness brings more kindness, and we can build more with kindness than we can with war. So we have to let go of a lot of things, judgments, expectations, and shoulds of ourselves and everyone else. And the whole Al-Anon, AA, let go and let God, is really a lifesaver, because when we're not holding on by our fingernails to try to make things better for everybody else, to try to change things the way we think they should be, we really have more freedom for our own self-care, our own happiness, and to engage with others with much more joy. Light. Remember, you are light. You are a beacon of light. And when you let your light shine, you instill in others the desire for them to let their light shine. And as I said, our synergistic lights can actually illuminate the world. So be the light that you are, and encourage others in your life to connect to their lights too, because the world needs all the light we can bring it. Love. As I said, love is the answer always, but it starts with loving yourself. So take a breath and begin to think, what can you do right now, today, to begin to be more loving to yourself? Whether it's to turn off your phone, whether it's to not answer an email, whether it's to go for a walk, whether it's to just sit with your feelings, whether it's to let yourself cry, writing, whatever lights you up, whatever brings you love, start with loving yourself. And as again, Sark says, she's a full cup of love, sharing her overflow with the world. So fill your cup up with love and then share your overflow. Silence. Meditation. Oftentimes people can't meditate because when they've been so busy trying to avoid their feelings, if they sit for a minute, all those feelings bubble up. But when you allow yourself to be silent, even for 2 minutes at a time, it's like when the computer starts spinning, that little circle starts spinning and you turn your computer off and then you turn it on again. That's what meditation does. It allows you to reboot. You can renew and stop listening to the chatter of your ego and your parts and your brain and your shoulds. Deep breath. And just spend time in silence. And know that your higher self, your soul, is always available if you quiet your mind enough to listen to those messages. So meditate when you can. And have patience. We all want it to happen when we want it to happen, but it doesn't happen that way. So learning patience allows us to, again, breathe, be present, and not have to control everything. So see what you can do to bring patience and to bring peace, because peace is the way forward. The struggle, the fight, the resistance. How can we bring peace even as we're bringing change? It doesn't mean we give up our desire to improve ourselves or the situation, but we do it with peace. We do it with a peaceful heart. And play. See if you can find some time to play. Find time for fun. Find time for enjoyment. Because when we think we have to just work, or do, or take care, we lose that balance. We lose that energy. We lose that spark. So find some time for play. And if you have to think back on what you like to do as a child, do that. But find something that lights you up and brings you fun. Prayer. For me, that's always been a big one. No matter what test I was taking or biopsy, no matter the health of my family or myself, I always pray. And I ask and receive and stay grateful. And it kind of takes the onus off me to figure out what I need to do, because I can lean into the belief that there is a higher power. If you can lean into that for yourself, I hope you do. And if you can't pray, if you meditate, if you just link yourself to a bigger universe when you're feeling stressed, it can be helpful. Presence. Just be here now, not in the past and what happened in the past, not in the future and what's going to happen. Let's be here now, because you'll find the present moment is the only one we have. And when we look around with gratitude, radical acceptance, forgiveness, and trust in this moment, we can then build that foundation from a more peaceful spiritual perspective and move forward there. But it takes us to be present instead of ruminating about the past or projecting into the future. And then purpose. Find your purpose and live your purpose. It will bring you joy. As they say at the Chopra Center, there are 3 questions to ask yourself before you meditate. Who am I? What do I want? And what is my dharma? What is my purpose? And when you find your purpose and you live your purpose, that does bring you joy. So see when you have time to try to answer those questions and let the universe help you answer. And resilience. We are all more resilient than we know. And only by keeping on do we practice that and know that we have what it takes to get through what we need to. But know you have that at your core, and you can lean into it even when you're exhausted, and know that with another breath, another good night's sleep, the help of friends and family, you can find the resilience to keep on keeping on. And rest. As much as you can, as often as you can. Take a rest, give it a rest, and let it rest. Whatever you're fighting so hard for, working so hard towards, let it rest. And be in peace as you rest, because in that rest, you will listen to your higher self more, and then make your next step based on peace instead of the need to accomplish or do or be anxious. Serenity. One day at a time, one choice at a time, one thought at a time. And as they say in Al-Anon, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. But being serene and allowing yourself to just take a breath and be present allows you to then move forward from a much more self-caring way, which allows you to be much more caring with others. Your soul. Listen for the messages from your soul, from your spirit, and know that it is your deepest truth. So whether you meditate, walk, journal, pray, we are body, mind, and spirit. And that spirit, that soul, that higher self has our truth, has our heart's desires in it. So listen to those messages and know it's your truth, no matter what your ego's saying about what should, could, ought to be happening. And know you have the strength, that resilience. You're stronger than you know. And whatever is going on, again, in your life, your relationship, your health, the world, politics, war, with your children, with your parents, with your family, with your friends, you're stronger than you know. You're resilient. You will get through it. And lean into the strength of your soul, of your higher self, of your deepest knowing. And know that things happen in the right time, at the right way, because we struggle, again, to have it happen when we want it to happen. And sometimes it's not the right time. And if it's not the right time, it's just going to go askew. So have patience that when it's the right time, the right things will happen. And transformation, again, back to freedom. Spread your wings and fly. You might feel you're in the chrysalis right now where your old life is over and you don't know what the new one's going to be. But you're going to be that butterfly. And though your wings are going to be wet for a while, you will get your bearings and you will transform and you will fly. Because you're going to trust that what is happening in your life right now, as they say, is happening for you, not to you. And when you learn the lessons from it, you'll move into the next incarnation of what your life's supposed to be like. But trust that you're on a path that's being divinely led, and show up with a willingness, a beginner's mind to allow for what is. Again, not to let our ego take over as to what should be, but show up, be present, see what is, and then know that you have the wisdom, the deep and profound and constant wisdom that will help you move through your life right now. So I know that's a lot. I put that all into a card deck that will be available. But right now, I want to invite you to go to lindakroll.com because I want you to get my care kit. lindakroll.com CCC. It's a relationship assessment to help you look at your relationship. It also talks about how to compassionately communicate, but it gives you the guided meditation that I do with all my clients to help them get to their best self, to help them connect to that self inside of them that is calm, clear, compassionate, courageous, curious, connected, confident, deep breath, and grateful. So for you to practice self-care means that you know that you have this higher self, that you can be the change you want to see in the world, that you can ask yourself those questions, those soul questions. Who am I? What do I want? And what is my dharma? And in those questions, who you are is light and love. What do you want? Begin to think about it. Make a list instead of trying to meet everybody else's needs. What do you want? Materially, financially, spiritually, emotionally, sexually, relationally, whatever you want. Put that on your GPS. Make that your goal, to live your life fulfilling what you want with these spiritual principles that allows you to bring your best self to your own self-care and then extend that self-care to others. Because what the world needs now is as much empathy, as much care, as much connection, communication, presence as we can give it. And you can give it all, but you have to take care of yourself. So become a full cup of love, as Sark says, sharing your overflow with the world. As Wayne Dyer says, when we change the way we look at something, what we look at changes. So we're not going to look at it from our ego and our oughts and our shoulds and our comparisons and our judgments. We're going to look at it from our soul, from the messages from our higher self. So we can live a more abundant life, a more peaceful life, a more joyous life, a life filled with compassion and connection and fun. And that's my hope for you, my prayer for you, that you can step into the light that you are, be the light that you are, go to the heart that you have and shine that light on all of your parts with patience and compassion and connection. And then let that light in you extend from you out to the world so that together we can not only be the change that we want to see, but we can help transform the world one light at a time, one heart at a time, one thought at a time, and one moment of grace at a time. So thank you so much for hanging in here with me. If you have any questions, please let me know and go to lindakroll.com, get your care kit so that I can connect you with whatever gifts I have in the care kit and future gifts moving forward. So whether it's before the holidays, before an occasion, before a family dinner, before you go to work tomorrow, do what you can to take care of yourself first and know that you deserve it. You're worth it. You're a channel of love and a beacon of light. And I'm sending you a lot of love. And thank you for hanging in here with me. I'll talk with you soon. Bye for now.